In the bright, expansive environs of the Denver Art Museum, visitors of diverse ethnicities, physical abilities, and ages enjoy a multitude of artistic experiences. In the Creative Hub, tables hold art-making materials where adults and children explore on their own. A corner is set aside with bookshelves containing picture books and a pegboard displaying posters. It is completed with a bright blue rug and colorful comfy cushions. A woman sits on the floor with a toddler-aged girl on her lap. The girl wears headphones as she plays with a pad. The woman, Blair Zaid, and her husband Shanti Zaid, who are members of the Youth and Family Advisory Group, sit side by side for an interview. Blair addresses the camera.
I moved to Denver maybe 3, almost 4 years ago, and I was looking for ways to get involved in the community. When I came across the Youth Advisory Group, I called and said, I think we're a good fit for this. And so our first meeting was really cool because it was a variety of families, shapes, sizes, ages, colors, and we were all focused on how do we make sure that we all feel like we belong in the Denver Art Museum.
A museum educator talks to a gathering of families as they mingle and eat snacks. Lindsay Jenshaft, Senior Manager of Family and Community Programming, addresses the camera.
One of the greatest parts of my job is that I get to work with the community through the Youth Advisory Group. We invite kids and families to the museum. We get to go through the galleries and see kids' reactions to different works of art. So it's this like living laboratory of reaction.
Shanti Zaid and Blair's teenage daughter explore spaces set apart by large Northwest Coast house poles and other examples of Alaskan art.
We really have a pretty good time when we're moving around and see some of the art gallery, and it's just really fun to see those impactful ideas come out kind of organically and knowing that they're going to have an impact on the institution.
When we first arrived, my teen had very little connection, but through the educational moments of learning how to see yourself as an artist, she's actually a self-described artist at this point.
A wall welcoming guests in multiple languages in varied fonts and colors. Danielle Stevens, Senior Interpretive Specialist.
The Denver Art Museum is not just about the objects that it houses. It truly is about people and a shared human experience. When people come through the doors, it is about them first and foremost. A lot of these things we learn from visitors, maybe even people who've never been to the museum, who kind of share how they would like to be supported while they're in this space.
An ASL interpreter speaks and signs to members of the Designing for Accessibility Working Group, which includes people who use wheelchairs and a visually impaired woman whose guide dog lies at her feet. A woman wearing a museum admission sticker uses sign language to communicate with hard of hearing members. Dan Burke, another Accessibility Working Group member, walks briskly across the lobby using a white cane. He is greeted by a woman who is a Denver Art Museum staff member.
My mom is an artist. My sister's got an art degree. It's one of the things that when I was younger, I had more vision. I played around with different kinds of art. For me, one of the things that's happened is sort of rediscovering art as a blind person. And I think that the challenges are always for blind people, believing that in their capacity to do things. So it's always about getting the message out that blind people can accomplish things, that we do things non-visually. Experiencing art is part of the human experience. I want to experience some of that too, and others do as well.
Dan walks to a piece titled Knows Her Medicine, a painting of an Apsaluka woman, acrylic on canvas. Dan is holding a mobile phone to access the verbal description on the audio tour.
For me to understand it and experience something, I need to touch it. I prefer tactile. Tactile art is anything you can put your hands on, like feel something that what the image is that's being communicated.
Dan stands in front of the huge 11 by 12 foot piece Mud Woman Rolls On. He touches an exact replica in about 16 by 20 inches size, which allows Dan to feel the seated round mud figure of the mother with her grass hair as she cradles 4 babies made of mud and unfired clay.
I was part of the Design for Accessibility team. I was so excited. It was a very creative process, and it was actually a blast to be a part of. Went to I'll get emotional about this. Because this is a huge resource for the whole state.
When people feel like they belong somewhere, my hope is that it strengthens the museum as a community hub and a place that truly is for all people.
Becca Goodrum, Assistant Curator, the Kirkland.
I think art has this incredible ability to connect or make you feel connected to a place.
We do focus on visitors a lot, but it oftentimes is the relationship building that you have with the artist that is part of the experience. It's helping the artists feel like they belong here too. We want our artists to feel celebrated.
Facing the camera for an interview, Sogo Majid, the artist and president of the Mongolian Culture and Heritage Center of Colorado. Subtitles. To exhibit at the Denver Art Museum is a dream come true. It has been 27 years since I immigrated to Colorado. Since I have experienced many changes and overcome many challenges and hardships which were not easy. I would like to think the fruits of my labor are returning back to me through the Denver Art Museum's Creative Hub exhibition. I wish for more opportunities like this to be available for immigrant artists.
When people walk into the Denver Art Museum, I hope they feel a sense that we really care about the experience that they have at the museum. And so it's so important that everyone get to experience art and make meaning in that way.
I think really demonstrates just the level of commitment that the Denver Art Museum has toward bringing people in and including everybody. Because then opening the Denver Art Museum for more access to art here, it's just a big step forward for all of us.
Subtitles. Denver Art Museum is our home. For us to feel comfortable, it is important for us to feel like we belong. At the Creative Hub, Blair Zaid helps her toddler daughter glue a collage together. The little girl places it on a shelf next to more collages created by children and gives her mother a high five.
I think this part of Denver feels kind of like a heartbeat. I think a variety of Denverites come through here. Making sure that the Denver Art Museum is open to all of them is vital, not only to the museum itself, but to this feeling of not only do we belong in the museum, but the museum belongs right here in Denver.